alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Soul Sisters. This is Mayya Al Saeed hosting, as always, with my sister here,
Vanessa Mehri.
Welcome to our show. Today we'll be talking about light skin pass. And I know you're probably looking at us thinking, the two of you, what do you know about skin pass? But subhanAllah, we live in a society where we are multicultural, and these things, we might not experience them firsthand, but our loved ones do and people we know. And we're so glad to have Fatin Al Maawali with us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so I think we'll just jump into it.
Okay.
What does the word light skin pass, or the words rather, light skin pass, what do they mean to you?
Well, I don't know what the word pass means. I'm not entirely sure what you mean about that. But when you talk about light skin pass, I assume it's like, having privilege because you're fairer skin, receiving better treatment, and just having things go easier for you based on the color of your skin.
And do you believe this happens in our society?
Unfortunately, yes.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
Do you feel that if a light-skinned woman talked about issues women of color face, do you feel like she would be heard more than if a woman of color spoke about the issues she's facing?
Probably, yes. Yes, I do believe that. I have actually witnessed something similar happening firsthand, where a fairer lady, also Arab like myself, was standing among men in a meeting, and it was a very serious conversation, and I was trying to get my point across, but nobody seemed to even look at me. And when the fairer skinned lady said, "Oh, hold on, I have a thought," suddenly everyone stopped talking and looked at her as in,
"No way.
Oh, please, yes, do tell us what you have to say." So, yeah.
So I'm going to ask the question, why? Why are we still facing these issues? What is it can't we see as humans that we are human, no matter what skin color we are, no matter where we come from or who we are? Why can't we just treat each other with the basic form of respect? Why is it so hard?
Well, if we had the answer to that question, we would probably have world peace. So
True, but what can we do about it? And this is one of the reasons why we wanted to have you here as a guest. Not for the obvious reasons that people are probably assuming, maybe a bit about that, but also because of the study that you actually did. So if you can tell us more about that.
Okay, so I have a master's degree in psychology, and I wrote my thesis about why younger women in Oman, specifically in Salalah, try to whiten or lighten their skin. So that was the main purpose or the main topic of my thesis. And the reason why, though, the path that I took me to get to that point was, I was studying my master's. I was doing it part-time overseas and or distance learning, and I got to the point where, okay, now I need to write about my thesis. What topic do I choose? I wanted to focus on social psychology. And social psychology basically is about human interaction, how humans deal with each other, what aspects of life stand out more, why certain things happen and other things don't, social. And I took a few weeks, actually a month, to decide what I wanted to write about. And then I was reflecting into myself and into my own experiences in my social life. And being a girl from Muscat and moving to Salalah, the social life was very, very difficult. It was very challenging. It was almost non-existent. And every time I tried to come out of my shell to get to know other ladies or make friends with other people, be it Dhafari or foreign or whatever, there was always something that would come in between. And many times I would receive comments about, the color of my skin, like, "Wow, you're so pretty, but it's such a shame that you're black."
No way, Fatin, please.
Yeah.
Right in your face. There's no sugarcoating.
In my face, no sugarcoating. And these are from ladies,
Are these the aunties?
Nope. Women my age. And it always surprised me, in the beginning I was offended But then I thought, maybe they don't know any better. And then it became like, I just laugh about it. And then I thought, no, I have to reply to this. And so that instigated me wanting to write the research about black skin, because a lot of girls who are dark color their skin. And I thought, why? So what better way to find out than to write a research about it, right? So I did. And my professor at the time, I remember, it was very difficult. But she kept on making me refine and refine and refine. So at the end of it, my hypotheses or my assumptions. So at the beginning of a thesis, you need to write down what you assume you will find out and then prove it right or wrong. And whatever it comes out to be, you need to explain why it was right as you guessed, or why it was wrong as per not what you guessed. So my hypotheses were women lightened, women of the older generation who had lightened their skin would convince the younger women not to do it because they saw the results on their face, the patches on their skin, the discoloration of their hands turning gray or green, basically not reaching the result that they wanted. And some women had extremely white faces but very dark hands. So it didn't match, it was like two different people, hand and face. So that was one. The second assumption was that women lightened their skin because they hoped to have higher opportunities of getting married quicker to fairer skinned people to make the next generation less dark. Yeah.
I need to breathe.
Wow.
Okay.
So I printed out a number of surveys, and I had a select group of women. I had about 100 women from the ages of 17 to 60.
Okay.
So a group from the 17 up to 25, and then 25 to like 30 something, and then, and so that I could spread them out, so that I could prove the 2 points. And the results were shocking. Like, I saw when I got back all the papers, and it was anonymous, so nobody's names, but like they would write down their age and if they're in school or college, if they're working, if they read and write, so if they have knowledge, basically.
Yeah, basic education.
And the results were shocking.
And with that, we'll come back right after this break. Welcome back to Soul Sisters. This is Mayya Al Saeed along with Vanessa Mehri, and if you've been tuning in, you know we are talking about light skin past along with Fatin Al Maawali, who is going to tell us about her shocking results she found out from her thesis.
But before she does, I just need to jump in here and just tell you how stunning you are.
MashaAllah.
I mean, you're talking about something very important, and I'm here looking at how stunning you are.
And now
in
she's
awe.
blushing.
And now she's
So
blushing.
cute.
She's so,
Thank you.
Such
Thank
a
you
beautiful
very much.
woman, mashallah. Okay,
MashaAllah.
carry on.
عيونك أحلى. Okay. What were we saying?
Shocking results.
Shocking results. Yes. Okay. So to answer the first hypothesis, which was the assumption that the older generation women will tell the younger generation not to do it because it affected their skin so much, causing skin cancer, discoloration, and so much more. It turned out that the results said no. The older women actually convinced the younger women that they needed to color their skin because if it didn't work with them, maybe it would work with you.
I can believe that. It's the aunties.
Yes. Poor aunties.
Sorry,
no, let's not talk about the aunties. I love my aunties.
Yeah, there's some aunties that are pretty rough, and I don't think they realize the impact they have.
Yes, they
with
don't.
What they say. I haven't experienced the comments on my. I have actually gotten comments on my skin tone, surprisingly, where I've been told I look like a corpse.
Oh,
because I'm so white. But that comes from white people. And
Right.
they're like, you need to go to the sun.
Oh,
Yes, but from aunties, I've had comments about weight, for example, and they don't realize how detrimental it is. Mm-hmm. So that they're telling girls to still go ahead and lighten their skin is just...
yeah.
I'm just thinking of the pressure these young women must feel. Like they can't, even if they accept and love the way they are, they have this social pressure
Yeah.
to do something because otherwise they might not get married or they're not considered beautiful.
Exactly.
Which is so sad.
Exactly. Now, if you go to the stores and look for a product that is not or does not have a whitening agent, it is almost impossible to find. You know, I mean, I don't want to change the color of my skin. I love the color of my skin. I'm so proud of my skin. And I go into any, you know, big department store in Oman and I'm looking for a night cream, for example, and all of them have whitening agents. I'm looking for sunblock, whitening agents. I'm looking for, you know, any body moisturizer, whitening agents.
What are the whitening agents in it? Just for those who don't know.
Well, I can't tell you off the top of my head. I don't remember what it's called exactly.
Okay.
So you were saying about the first point. What about the second point?
Okay. This was the one that shocked me the most. I really thought that women, you know, were whitening their skins because they wanted to get married. But it turns out, no. They were whitening their skin because they wanted to get a better job.
Job
With
related.
higher pay. Yes.
Referring to the first example you gave before the break.
Exactly.
That men or whoever, management, whoever paid attention to the women with the light skin.
Yes, because if you look at... So the start of my thesis basically talks a little bit about the history of the far and how this whole phenomenon of having whiter skin means you are prettier, you are smarter, you are richer, you are, you know, and that those are all of the stigmas that kind of hang on people who are fairer in skin in the south of Oman. And I will only focus on the south because that's where my thesis was. Although I did have experience living in Muscat as a young one.
Which we'll get into later.
We will. But so in the past, like before, we're talking about before 1970, before Sultan Qaboos, Allah yarhamu, took over, during the time of his father, the people in the south were really struggling. They were struggling for jobs. They were struggling for livelihood. They were struggling for another pair of the dishdasha, another pair of shoes, because they weren't allowed. They were treated terribly. And so a lot of the men who originally were camel herders, cow herders, sheep herders, fishermen, whatever, they left their jobs, they left the comforts of their home so they could travel to other parts of the GCC in hope to make more money and come back to take care of their families and provide a better life. So now, what does that mean? The man leaves. What does he leave behind? He leaves behind a wife. What does the wife have to do? She has to take charge. She has to herd the camels, the cows, the fishing. So they're working out in the sun. They get dark. They get muscular. They become thin and strong because they're doing this daily work, right? It's natural.
Yeah.
Now, the men go abroad. They go to Saudi Arabia. They go to Kuwait. They go to Bahrain. And they see these plump, beautiful, white women just walking around. They're like, I want that. Because that means comfort. If my wife can become that, it means that I've done my job as a man and I've provided my wife a good, comfortable life.
Wow.
So if you think about that as your template of why the original thought came about, why women back then felt like, oh, I need to do something. I need to get fatter. I need to change my skin. I need to. That kind of answers the question. But then how it cascades down to other generations, that is where the problem is, in my opinion.
Wow, that's...
No, it makes sense because I've always wondered, what is it? And mashallah, the Fari women are known for being plump and white and, you know, and all of that. And now it all makes sense. I didn't know that. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
So the problem started with a man.
Please remove that team.
Just remove that part. But it's true. All problems start. And then you guys say we are the problem. And we're back discussing a very important topic, light skin pass.
With us in the studio is Fatin Al Maawali. So, Fatin, I'm interested to find out about your childhood, since you did say that you grew up in Muscat.
Right.
But your thesis began from your experience in Salalah.
Correct.
So does this mean Muscat was okay? You didn't face any issues?
My fellow musketeers. Well, I can't say that I have not faced issues, and I cannot say that Muscat was not good. Muscat is my home. Muscat is where I belong. Muscat is where I come from. Muscat is in my blood. It's in my genes, and I would never, even consider changing that for a second. But being a dark child in Muscat was not easy.
I can relate, even though I am not dark skinned, but I have, my mother is French and my father is Omani, but he has dark skin. So I took his curly hair.
Right.
So I remember clearly children making fun of me in the bus because my hair is curly.
Yeah.
Literally, they would pull at my hair because it was curly. And okay, it's not because of my skin, but it does come from that same line because of, dark skin, have curly hair. And I love my hair. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I can only imagine what you went through.
Well, it's wonderful that you love your hair. And I wish that more and more younger girls today love their hair.
Yeah, I feel we can do a whole nother episode.
I know. We could talk about I am not my hair.
I'm here listening to you guys, and I remember doing everything I could do to have curly hair because my sisters are biracial.
Right.
I tried to do everything to look like them and have the same texture. It didn't work.
We're never happy with what we have.
No.
Straight hair wants curly hair wants straight, light wants to be dark, dark wants to be light.
That's what my mom always said. She's like, you're never happy with what you're given. And I was like, why is that so? That shouldn't be that way.
And that's our problem.
That's the problem.
We're not satisfied. We always want to change. We can't just accept who we are.
Do you think that's just a woman thing?
Well, if we're focusing on the world today, I think not. I think even men are going through it. I don't know why.
Social media.
Most probably.
It's all that selfies and Instagram and,
Perfectionism.
Beauty. And all those filters and guys suddenly having blue eyes. And how did that happen?
Contact lenses.
Yeah, and very good. Just funny that you mentioned that. Through your research, did you also find men who are trying to...
Oh my God, yes.
Wow.
Oh my God, yes. But because I wasn't focusing on the men, I didn't put too much attention on it, but I did observe men actually lightening their skin. There's this one dude, actually I probably shouldn't mention, who I know professionally. And he was dark when I first met him, and now he's pink.
Not even. We're in a completely different side, huh?
Yeah. I'm not sure he feels like it worked for him because it did change his skin, but now he's more susceptible to sunburn very quickly. He kind of has to cover his head if he goes out in the sun.
Because the chemicals that they use is very harsh, isn't it?
Yes.
Otherwise, you really have to go really deep in the skin.
So if I tell you about the kinds of chemicals that I explored. So basically it plays around with your melanin. And the ladies that I was privileged enough to be able to interview, who freely opened up to me, told me about this type of injection that's, like only 250 ml. And you buy it from China.
Only 250 ml?
Only 250 ml. And it costs upwards of 200 rials. So you're paying, I don't know how many rials per ml, basically. A rial per ml, approximately. And so you inject it into the area that you want to change. So, for example, you want to change the area on your hand, on your palm, the back of your hand. So they would inject it in through the meaty part. And then you have to massage it in. So you're sort of spreading this chemical in through your skin. But it only focuses on a tiny area.
I was going to say, how many do you need?
You need a lot. So imagine if you wanted to change your entire body. And that's why hands, face, not the same.
Yeah, but then if there are women or men who do only this part. What about the rest of the bodies?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, because this is what people
That's
see.
what people see. Exactly.
Okay, but I find that
Yes.
very uncomfortable.
It is very
But
uncomfortable.
that's what people see, but then there is what you see.
Yes.
So you are happy looking like patchwork.
I guess so.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we're talking. I know we're laughing, but I'm so glad we're talking about this because this is happening, and we should really try our best to educate, raise awareness, so this doesn't continue.
It shouldn't
happening.
continue to happen.
Because you're harming yourself just to look white.
Yes.
That's what you're actually doing.
Correct.
You're putting these chemicals in. You're wasting money just so you can look white. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, you did ask me about my childhood, though.
Yes, please take us
went so
back
far
there.
away.
We just diverted.
Totally diverted. Okay, so on the topic of hair, so I had an afro growing up, like a big one.
Wow.
My hair was really, really kinky and curly, and it isn't anymore because unfortunately, I got into hair crack, which is the hair relaxer, the no-lie stuff, and I was exposed to that when I was 9 years old.
And they had,
By my mom.
they had a box called Beautiful Beginnings.
Yes.
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 I always couldn't understand the name Beautiful Beginnings. What
Yeah.
are you... and I remember it's for that, yeah.
There's the other one, which is there's olive oil, and then there is me for the child, for the children.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Pictures of little black girls with, straight hair on the box. Exactly.
All shiny and...
All shiny, and she's happy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so before I did that, I had an afro. And on the bus as well, the kids behind me would stick pencils in my hair and, like staples and, paper clips and whatever. And I couldn't feel it because my hair was so big.
And it would just carry it.
It would just hold it.
They just hang there.
Yeah. My brothers used to joke and say that I could hide a remote control in my hair. And if they ever were looking for the remote control, they'd say,
Must be in Fatin.
look at Fatin's hair. So, yeah, I did expose you, brothers. Yeah. So then my mom was a very busy woman. And, she was raising 4 kids all by herself.
Wow.
She had a full-time job, and she was working really hard to make sure that we had food to eat, we were in good schools, we had good clothes to wear and all of that. So she didn't have time to comb my hair or, take out the kinks.
Braid it.
Or do any of that. So one day, she, I think I was 7, she took me to the barber shop and asked the barber to please shave my head.
At 7?
At 7. So I went home looking like a 4th boy. It was hard.
It must have been devastating for you.
I had no choice.
How old were you?
7.
7.
What?
I wasn't a girly girl. I was a tomboy.
Okay, then that's okay.
So it wasn't too bad. I felt like I was finally being initiated into the boys' club. And my brothers were not very happy with that. They're like, she's a girl. What have you done? Anyway, when it finally grew back, my mom said, okay, we're going to the salon and you're getting your hair straightened. And we spent an entire day in the salon
Changing your texture.
changing the texture of my hair, which started off just under my ears and ended up down to the back, my lower back. It was insane. I remember going home and just constantly touching my hair and thinking, wow, this is really soft. Wow. And it felt weird because I'd take a shower, I'd wash my hair, and I'd feel the water touch my scalp. And I'm like, what is going on? But that was sort of like my first exposure into changing who I was. I felt very conflicted of my ethnicity. People would call me, oh, you're a Zanjibari, which means that I have African descent. Yes, I am Zanjibari, but I am also Omani. And so people would ask me, are you Zanzibari or are you Omani? And I would never know how to answer that question.
I still get asked that question.
And what do you say?
I am. I'm Zanjibari, I'm Omani, I'm French. I'm half French, so.
Yeah.
But I'm Omani.
Cocktail.
Yes.
Yeah, cocktail. exactly.
Yeah.
And it shows in the facial feature anyway. They always can't place me. So, but yani, it's very interesting in a way that we face the similar things, although we are different skin, but we have similar experiences. And just because I'm not light skinned doesn't mean I don't feel your pain.
Right.
Or I didn't experience this.
Yes.
Because my children, as I was telling you, my children, Hadil, when she was younger, I remember we were out of Oman. We were living in Malaysia. And I had met a Saudi lady. So she had come to visit us at home. And as she opens the door, Hadil, is there opening the door, and Hadil is the one that greets her. And the first thing that this lady says, I'll say it in Arabic, then I'll translate it in English. She goes, ليش انتي ما حلوة مثل ماما؟ ليش انتي طلعتي سودة؟
Oh.
Why are you not beautiful like your mother? Why did you turn out dark?
No.
Wow.
How old was your daughter?
7.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine, yani, with the effect that just because she's not a certain type, that just because this lady decided dark is ugly in her eyes, but to come and say it, like similar to
Out loud, like in your face.
Not considering her feelings or her emotions, just telling her as it is because she thought she should know.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, but I didn't ask for your opinion.
Exactly.
I think teaching, so that's why I do the exercise I do with my daughter. I do an exercise with my daughter where we role play and practice responses. So if somebody were to say something like that, my girl has
A response.
she has responses in her vault.
Nice.
She knows what to say. She has her comebacks. We call it the comebacks. And initially that was for school, but I've homeschooled for 2 years, so she didn't really need it. But
Your daughter is light-skinned.
she's not very.
She would be considered light-skinned in here.
Yeah, but then you'd be surprised at how many remarks she gets on that. And for her, it'll be her skin, her teeth. She's a teen. Her teeth are still finding their way.
That's a nice way to put it.
They're still finding a way. And all teenagers go through this phase. But it's so sad to see that you have even 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds getting braces already because, we must have everything perfect and straight. You're not even giving nature a chance to do its job first.
Right.
The teeth haven't even all fallen out and you're already trying to fix them.
And this is only the tip of the iceberg. Let's not even start what teenagers are into today because it goes way beyond the braces. Anyway, we'll take a short break and we'll come back right after this.
And we're back discussing the light skin pass. Mayya, do you have any questions for our lovely guest?
Yes, actually, I was wondering, is there any time during your childhood that you felt that you are different, or why you're different? Did you question this? What was it about you?
This is a very hard question.
Maybe one experience or one incident that happened that put everything together, and then you understood it was because of the color of your skin.
I remember when I was around 9, I'd say. And during Eid, my dad would take us to Malayarab, where we would go and meet up with other family members. And there was this neighbor, a little girl, slightly younger than me, not that dark, not that fair. She's not that different from me in terms of skin tone. But anyway, she looked at me and she said, again, I'll say it in Arabic and I'll translate it, and said, "Inti kafra لأنك سودة."
Oh, I can already.
Which basically means you're an infidel because you're black. And I remember I felt like my entire being just shattered because most of my childhood, all of my childhood, revolved around religion and being kind and being good and, all the things you need to do to get to heaven. And then suddenly this person tells me that I'm basically going to hell because when we were children, Muslim is good and Kafir is bad. Telling me that I'm going to hell because I'm black. So I started to question, I have no chance God has stamped me to go to hell by giving me this color.
Where did she
And
learn that?
I don't know.
Where did she learn that from? The grown-ups that
Yeah,
are around
probably.
her.
So I took myself inside the house to my dad, crying. And my dad's not a very sensitive man. He just looked at me and he said, "Wait, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying? It's Eid. Go outside. Go have fun. Go get some sweets or something." I said, "Baba, this girl called me kafra," and so on. And he said, "Go to her and read Surah Al-Fatiha." So I did. I went outside, and at the top of my lungs, I was like, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It was like, what's wrong with this kid? So that was terribly handled. So I went home and I told my mom about it because I was still very devastated. And I started to even question religion. I started questioning Islam. Because of one thing that some little girl said to me.
Yeah.
Because she basically regurgitated what her parents told her. And my mom sat down with me, bless her, and she said to me, and she's kind of felt like an eye opener. She's like, "Fatin, I am black." And it was as if the first time I saw my mother in color. Because as a child, you don't see color.
Yeah, you don't. True.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I was like, "Mama, you and me, we're the same."
Oh, Habibti.
And so she, we had this really long, lengthy conversation about why black was beautiful and how, she was going on saying how you can match any color with your skin. You can wear anything you want and it will look good. She said, she just went into all of these things. She said, "Black people have rhythm.
That's true.
White people can't dance."
That is very true.
My mom and my dad, they loved dancing.
It's a bias, but it's so true.
It's a bias, but
It's true. I'm sorry.
And so, but that was basically the beginning of my journey to try and discover who and what I am and to thicken my skin, not to let conversations or comments like that hit me, hurt me, affect me. And so, I started buying a lot of books, or asking my mom to buy me a lot of books that were black centered, of children my age that were black and how they dealt with life and so on. And of course, we didn't have the internet.
Then.
So you had to buy a book.
Yeah.
And actually read it.
Yeah. And I think I only really came into myself in college.
Interesting.
In college, I was heavily bullied in school. Heavily bullied in school. I hated school.
Was it still just because of color?
It was because of everything. It was because, I went to an elite school here because that's how hard my mom worked to put us into the best schools. So because it's an elite school, most of the kids come from money and I don't. I didn't really care about what my hair looked like. So I just kind of comb it together. I have all these really funny yearbook pictures of my hair just looking really totally out of place.
Just together.
Because, I didn't want to be kicked out of school. And my eyebrows were like big and bushy and it was just terrible. I was just a sight. But I was a kid.
Yeah.
Well, most of the girls were very well put together. They had their eyebrows done. They would wax their arms. And I was like, that looks painful. They'd come to school with lip gloss and I just didn't care. So I was bullied. And probably having color as well contributed to that. Like, look at the dirty black kid kind of thing.
Yeah, Allah.
But
the precious
children,
children.
Kids are mean.
Kids are mean because they are brought up by mean people.
Yeah.
There's just no other way to say it.
Yeah.
Okay, kids are not born this way. They do not come up with these ideologies. They are this way because of the people who raised them, whoever these people are.
Yeah, they're not having the right conversations. Because sometimes like a kid might have questions. Like, for example, the girl. Had her parents heard her say that, I would have loved for them to hopefully say, no, that's not how it is. But if they're not actively parenting, they're not able to have that conversation with their kids, are they?
True. Actively parenting. What is that, Vanessa? I think that's another
a whole
episode.
another thing.
But I am going to fast forward,
Okay.
Fatin, and I want to take you on your choices of marriage, because you said something. You said children see no color.
Yes.
Another thing that sees no color is love.
Oh, wow.
صح?
Sah.
So I'll let you take it from there.
Oh, okay. So I'm married to Talal. And Talal is a Jabali, a Canadian Jabali. So he's white. But that has nothing to do with oh my God, I can't believe I'm blushing.
Oh, Talal, what have
I
you
put
done?
you on the spot.
You did.
No, but it does have something to do with the topic. Yes, it's light skin pass,
Yeah.
I know, but I feel it's so important to highlight this part of who you are. Yani, you've been bullied all this time. I think the last thing you want to do is marry a white dude. But you went ahead.
You know, okay, I'll give you a simple the simple reasoning why I didn't marry a dark dude.
Okay.
Because they remind me of my brothers.
Okay, well.
Honestly, I know it sounds really weird, but I have 3 very tall, very strong, very bald, black brothers. And that is what most of the black men are like in Oman.
Yeah.
So I just did not gravitate towards that
Preference. You're like,
because it just didn't work for me. But I also wasn't looking for color when it came to marriage. I was looking for intellectual mind. I was looking for someone who could make me laugh. Someone whom I could sit with in a closed room with no TV and talk for hours. That's what I was looking for. And I found that in Talal.
Talal checked all those
He
boxes.
checked many more.
Hola.
But we'll not get into that.
Talal.
But it wasn't easy to get married to Talal
Yes.
because color
Came
also
into place.
came into play in a very big context. It surprised me. Being older than him didn't matter. Being more professionally advanced than him didn't matter. Having higher degree didn't matter. Being of a different religious sect, me being Ibadi and him Sunni, didn't matter. What did matter was that I was black.
Wow.
And that would affect the generation
to come.
because they would not be pure white.
And this bringing us back to the closure that she, because he is from Salala, and then it puts everything
Into perspective.
But still, now you live there now.
I do. I live there and I can't imagine coming back.
Yes, I heard. But I did say, I was like, oh, interesting.
Yes, I'm madly in love with Salala. I love its nature. I love its people, even though they were mean in the beginning. But I find them extremely endearing. And they're so humble and honest and just ready to help.
MashaAllah. Which is something within the Omani people. We're all,
yeah.
Omanis are known for this, but maybe
I feel like it stands out more in Salala.
Salala.
Because, Muscat is the capital city and it's got all of the different types of people, different cultures and religions and whatever. So the city naturally starts to slowly lose the touch, An idea of fun in Muscat is going to the movie or going to
The
mall or something like that. But an idea of fun in Salala is to find an empty open space out somewhere, put down a mat, bring out a thermos of tea, and play Uno. And I love it.
I still can't play
we
Uno.
should go to Salala.
But that sounds like a good...
Yes, it
That
does.
sounds like my kind of... we've done that, Maya. We've gone to a park with food
Yeah,
and
but
just
I want to
sat.
go to Salala.
Yeah, I haven't been to Salala.
Oh,
Can you
really?
do-
Then
All right.
khalas, we
Okay, that's it.
definitely
Done. You're
should-
coming to Salala
going.
and you're coming to my Thai restaurant.
Yes, sure.
My husband is obsessed with Thai food. Surprise, surprise. You'd think his allegiance would lie elsewhere, but no.
No.
He's obsessed with Thai food.
And it's good.
It's good, though. It is good.
Just to, before we wrap it up, we're raising awareness. What, I don't know, should it start with the parents? Should it start with the kids? Like where does the flip switch start?
Okay, so to answer this question, I am going to put on my professional hat.
Please do.
Okay. So if we are to follow the concept that many organizations take when it comes to change management, is that they start the change from both up and down. So from the leaders and from the newbies. So who are our leaders in our community? Teachers. So schools, doctors, nurses, people that you interact with, and you automatically give them that respect because you have a higher...
Police.
Yes, police.
That's a big one here.
And then you have your parents and your friends. So that your circle of influence, they have the biggest impact on you as a person, as a child, as how you grow, what you turn into. So if we were able to raise this kind of awareness to that first level, we're talking teachers, to teach the children that whether you're black or white or pink or yellow or blue or purple, you're all human. And you all bleed the same. You all come from the same thing. And you're all going to the same place. The earth.
Yes.
If that concept can be dug in, that treat each other with equality, with respect, with love, I think we would have a better community.
I think so too.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. Really. So and like the work you mentioned workforces earlier, yeah. Policies have to be put in place to really try and target the issue, which is girls and boys, all people need to know that they shouldn't be held back by their color. There's so much more to them.
Yeah.
But I don't see this changing soon. I don't know why.
Mayya, you can't move a mountain by shoving the mountain. It starts by moving a rock by rock, right?
Yes.
So it starts with you yourself.
It starts with us.
That's beautiful.
I'd rather...
You just start with yourself.
Yes.
And let it trickle down. Have the domino effect, hopefully. And I don't know how else to put it. I've just from my personal experience.
So I hope this episode will be one of those stones that does do a ripple effect, inshallah. And thank you so much, Fatin, for being here, for sharing a bit about your personality and your thesis.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
And I'll just say it again, you are beautiful, you are gorgeous.
Mashallah.
You're a lucky man.
Both of you,
The
mashallah.
Talal's just walked in. Talal, you are a lucky bugger.
And so is anyone listening who is of color. This is also to you, to say that you are beautiful just the way Allah created you. Thank you so much for being with us, and we shall see you all next time, inshallah. Ma'a salama.
Ma'a salama.
Ma'a salama.